Over the last several weeks, I've been testing the AC240 and the B210 battery on a daily basis in many different testing environments because I wanted to get a better understanding of the real life performance of this system before sharing it with you. So be sure to hang out with me through the entire video because I'm going to cover 25 items that I think you should know about the AC240 and the B210 battery. Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new here, my name's Justin. I focus on energy related products and building out DIY systems to help simplify your life and become more sustainable. Throughout this video, I hope to teach you something about the AC240 and the B210 batteries that you didn't know before clicking into the video. And because I recorded this over a long period of time and on multiple days, you're gonna see that I wore different clothes on different days. So I'm gonna go ahead and state the obvious, let that be known that I didn't record this all in one shot. I did take my time and tried to get as much information of real life data that I could on the AC240 and the B210 battery, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And all the buzz around the AC240 and the B210 battery is the IP65 rating. So let's rewind in time and take a look. And now I'm standing out in the rain to demonstrate to you guys that the AC240 and the B210 batteries are both IP65 rated, meaning that they can take water like this, pretty much a pour down that I'm standing in right now. And I've actually tested this, spraying it down with a hose, and I've done this day in and day out to see if I can get any problems out of it. And I've had absolutely zero problems out of either one of these units getting them wet every day. And I need to point out that these are not waterproof. These are water and dust resistant. So IP65 means you can splash this from any angle and it will be safe, but you cannot submerge it into water. And the short answer to that question is you can connect the AC240 to a transfer switch. I've got it connected here to a 240 volt transfer switch. However, it's only sending 120 volts into the load center. And the way that I'm doing this is you gotta buy this special adapter. Each one of these single pole breakers are receiving 120 volts. But we cannot use the dual pole breakers. And we gotta make sure to turn those off if we need to use this unit in a scenario where we want to energize the essential loads. You may have noticed that we have a 50 amp transfer switch here. However, none of the circuits that we have currently turned on are over 20 amps. And as long as we stay aware that the output should never reach over 2400 watts on the portable power station, then this setup can certainly act as a backup in a scenario to where you need to power the essential loads. And if we want to switch from grid power to our portable power station, all we need to do is switch it over. And you can use the B210 battery by itself. Also, you can charge it with solar. It comes with a cable that has a port over here on the side, a DC port that you would connect this into, connect your solar to it, and it would charge the battery. And the DC PV input is 11 volts to 60 volts, 10 amps, up to a maximum of 500 watts. And for the DC PV input on the AC240, you have 11 volts to 60 volts, 21 amps, and a maximum of 1,200 watts of solar input. However, this is the part that can get tricky because you have 1,200 watts maximum of input, but you've only got 60 volts maximum for voltage and 21 amps. So if you have the right setup, you can get to 1,200 watts, I guess. But for me, I can't even come close to it because I use larger panels, 400 watt bifacial panels by Aptos Solar. And I'll put a diagram up here and show you this. I have 37 volts or close to 37 volts on each panel and 13 amps or close to 13 amps. So I can't do a series connection or a parallel connection to get 800 watts or even 1,200 watts to come close to that. I gotta use one panel to charge this up with. And I've done really great with one panel to keep this at 61%. Today, right now, I'm using almost 500 watts. and it's very cloudy. I'm getting hardly any solar input out of that one panel, 57 watts. There is a workaround where I could take one 400 watt panel and hook it to the AC240 and then one solar panel to the B210 battery, and I'd have 800 watts of solar coming in to charge the system. So there is a workaround. It's not all doom and gloom on this. It's just something that I do want to point out. Probably a lot of people may have solar panels that could be connected in a series or parallel and series together to come close to the 1200 watts. I just don't have the right pairing of solar panels to get close to 1200 watts. The AC240 does support fast charging, but to do that, first we need to go into the app and switch it from standard mode to turbo mode. From the dashboard of the app, you'll look at the right-hand corner at the top, click that icon, scroll down until you find the charging mode. The default setting is the standard. You'll click that, tap turbo, and you're good to go. And we're getting around 1700 watts on turbocharge. Now, you can bump this up to 2200 watts. That requires a passcode from Bluetti, but it's very important. The circuit that you're gonna be charging your power station with is a 20 amp circuit and a 20 amp plug. To do that, we'll revisit the app again. We'll go into the settings. Then we'll go all the way down to advanced settings. And here you'll see where it says max charging current of grid, 15 amps. You'll click that and you'll have to switch over to pro mode. And that's where it's going to require you to accept the disclaimer and then put in a code. And then we'll be able to switch that up to 20 amps. Now that we've got the code in, I'm able to come in here and do this to a maximum of 20 amps. But you need to purchase a separate cable or a charging cable, and I think Bluetti recommends that to be the 30 amp charging cable for the AC240 before doing this. So be sure to purchase that cable, reach out to Bluetti. They'll give you all the information that you need because you got to get that passcode to activate this mode. But I do want to show you that it does work immediately. I'll be turning that back down to 15 amps because I don't see any reason why I need to be charging this at 20 amps anyways. Now you can see that we're charging right around 2200 watts. And to reset, all we have to do is turn off the AC and then turn it back on. 70.6 pounds. The B210 battery weighs 59.8 pounds. The overall dimensions are roughly 16 inches tall, 10.5 inches deep, and 16 inches wide. The battery dimensions are roughly 11 inches tall, 16 inches wide, and 10.5 inches deep. And I really do love these cables that Bluetti have switched over to because they're so simple to connect. The AC240 is equipped with a UPS function, the uninterrupted power supply. And what that means is if we disconnect this from the AC input that's charging the unit currently, then this light won't go out. It'll automatically switch over, and that happens in a matter of 15 milliseconds. That is 2 times faster than a strike of lightning. So it's extremely fast. It's one of the fastest spec times that I've seen on a portable power station up to this date. And the current charge setting is set to turbocharge. I wanted to see if that would make a difference because we'd be pulling more from the AC to charge the batteries while powering the light. Maybe that'll make a difference. Maybe it won't. We'll try it in standard mode right after this. So let's pull this from the wall and see what type of flicker we get. So I seen a very slight flicker when I pulled that. Now, I don't have no real scientific way of testing this. If you guys know of a diagnostic tool that I can use to test that out, I would love to hear that in the comments below. I'll pick one up and start testing this in a more scientific way. Right now, I just have this very sensitive LED light that I can use. I do get a flicker out of this no matter what, but I don't have an actual time that I can tell you guys how fast it actually transferred over. I can just tell you it did not disrupt the light. So let's plug this back in. We're probably not gonna get any type of flicker as this kicks back on, but it's worth at least trying it out. So we already got power coming into it, no flicker that way. So now let's try this on standard charge mode. And on standard charge mode, we're using about 850 watts right now. Let's disconnect it from the AC input and see what type of flicker we get. I don't think it really made a difference. It looked exactly the same to me. But like I said, guys, if you know of any diagnostic tool that I can use to test that out in a more scientific way, leave me a comment below because I'd really like to know it. And I don't want to get wrapped up too much into the UPS function because I don't have the correct diagnostics tool to actually do that. I know that we can see a flicker in a light, and that's a very sensitive light, and I always get a flicker out of power stations, but I can't determine how fast it actually switched from the AC grid to the actual inverter inside the AC240. So I don't want to get too wrapped up in it, but I want to show you that it does work. I've tested this on multiple appliances, not have any issues out of them. I've backed up my shop here that I'm doing this video in on this inverter for several weeks, and I've had no issues out of it. When the power goes out, we get storms quite frequently during the spring, and we've had several over the last couple of weeks, and this has performed flawlessly. Yes, you can connect two AC240s in parallel, bringing your output from 2400 watts all the way up to 4800 watts of output at 120 volts. Here's the AC parallel port where you would connect those two together. And considering the portability of this system, that could open up a world of possibilities of how people may utilize the AC240. I always find it important to test the sound levels of the portable power stations, and I did that with the AC240. The loudest level that I got out of this was 49.4 decibels, and even under a load around 1300 watts, I was only getting around a 35 to 39 reading on my sound meter. And the question that I get all the time is, can I use that on my boat? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Lucky, yes you can, because this offers a sea corrosion protection, which will provide you with a good marine solution. Most definitely, you can control the AC240 from a remote location from anywhere in the world if you're using the Bluetti app. But you'll need to have the power station connected to Wi-Fi. And this is what that'll look like from the home screen. You can monitor or turn on or off your DC or AC outputs. You can see everything in real time. You can see we got it connected to a solar array right now, pulling in 342 watts, and the output on our AC side is 42 watts. And we can do a lot more in here. We can go into the settings and do a lot of customization into advanced settings even. We can turn on the actual charging modes, set turbo mode, silent mode, and standard mode. So you can manage your AC240 from anywhere in the world as long as you have it connected to Wi-Fi and you have the Bluetti app. But first, you want to disconnect it from everything, your AC inputs and your DC inputs, anything that's going on in the outputs, just disconnect it all before trying to get into the settings. And to enter the menu, you need to press the DC button and the AC button at the same time. That'll pull up the menu. And up here, you'll see P01. You'll hit the DC button to go all the way to P06 to turn off the Bluetooth. And to turn it off, you'll hit the AC button. You'll see it disappear. And then we'll go to P07 to turn off the Wi-Fi. Hit the AC button, turns it off. To get back to the screen, you'll press the two buttons again, the DC and the AC. And that brings you back to here. Now the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi is turned off on the AC240. Although on the Bluetti website, it states that the B210 battery is compatible with both the AC240 and the 200L, you can't use the cable that comes with the B210 battery on the AC200L, and I want to show you why. And on the AC200L, the battery expansion port is actually different from the cable that comes with the B210 battery. So you can see that this is circle, and it's got a little slot right there that it should slide into. Well, this is circle, and it's got a flat edge right there. So there's no way that this plug will go into this port. And this is what the port looks like on the AC240. You can see a major difference in this port versus that port. Although technically the B210 battery is compatible with the AC240 and the AC200L, if you're pairing this with the AC200L, you're going to need a different cable. One B210 battery can have a total capacity of 2,150 watt hours. As a standalone unit, the AC240 has a capacity of 1,536 watt hours. Slightly lower than its predecessor, the AC200L, which had 2,048 watt hours. And at first, I was disappointed that this came in right at 500 less watt hours than the AC200L. However, after diving deeper into this, I've become completely comfortable with having less watt hours out of the standalone unit. And you'll see why here just a little bit when I start talking about the expandability of the B210 battery. The AC240 is expandable with up to 4 B210 batteries, giving you a total of 10,136 watt hours of backup. However, you can connect the AC240 to another AC240 in parallel, bringing that up to a total of 8 batteries, giving you a capacity of 20,272 watt hours of backup. Both the AC240 and the B210 battery come backed by a 6-year warranty, which is an industry-leading warranty on these portable power stations, because that's covering the inverter, the battery, and everything inside of the AC240 and the battery as well for that 6-year period. And there is a life expectancy of 10 years for both of these units. So no matter if you got just the battery or the portable power station, you can expect to have at least 10 years of service out of it using it on a daily basis. That meaning you're cycling it every day for 10 years. So if you're not doing that type of heavy use out of it, you can expect a much longer life expectancy. And I guess this would be a good opportunity to talk about the cable, because I've heard some buzz around the internet that they think that this should be on 90s. However, I kind of disagree on a portable power station. Now, if this was more stationary, of course, I would want more 90s connecting the batteries to your inverter or your power station. But let's say on a boat situation, you need to put this up here like this. That's fine. But if you need to put it down here like that, you cannot do that with the 90 degrees. And with this cable, it gives you flexibility of how you want to set this up. Do you want the battery on top? Do you want the battery on bottom? Or do you want the battery off to the side? So in a mobile situation, I like having the actual battery cable that allows me that flexibility. Hopefully I was able to answer most of your questions, if not all of your questions. But if you still have one, be sure to leave a comment below. Don't be shy, say hi. I'll try to respond as quick as possible. I appreciate everyone that took the time out of their day or night to watch the entire video. And I hope to be able to bring you some more informative videos here very soon. But until then, thanks for watching and take care.